You are scrolling right now. Your thumb is moving up the screen in a motion, so automatic your brain stopped registering it about 3 minutes ago. You are not reading. You are not watching. You are grazing. And somewhere in the back of your skull, something very old is making a decision about whether any of this is dangerous. That thing in the back of your skull is not you. It is much older than you. It is a system that was finalized approximately 50,000 years ago, under conditions so different from your life right now that the gap is almost impossible to close. And yet here it is, running inside you right now, making decisions about your attention, your fear, your sleep, your relationships, and doing it with logic that belongs to a world that no longer exists. This is not a metaphor. This is neuroscience. In 2008, neuroscientist Paul MacLean's earlier framework was revisited and expanded by researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig. What they confirmed was something that should have changed everything about how we understand human suffering. The human brain is not one brain. It is 3 systems layered on top of each other, each one built at a different point in evolutionary history, each one operating by its own rules. And the oldest system, the one sitting deepest inside your head, wrapped around your brainstem, does not know what year it is. It does not know what country you are in. It does not know what a notification is, or a debt, or a performance review. It only knows one thing: threat, or no threat. Every second of every day, that system is scanning, not consciously. Not with words, just scanning. Movement in the peripheral vision, a change in someone's tone of voice, a face that looks slightly different than expected. And when it finds something, anything, it fires. But here is where it gets disturbing. In 2011, psychologist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA published a study in the journal Science that showed something no one had cleanly documented before. She put 36 participants inside an fMRI scanner and had them play a simple computer game where, midway through, the other players stopped including them. No physical pain, no raised voices, just social exclusion. A game, and the brain regions that activated were identical, not similar, identical, to the regions that activate when the body experiences physical injury. The anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula, the same structures that process a broken bone processed being left out of a game. Your brain does not distinguish between a predator and a person who didn't text back. It processes both as survival threats, because for 50,000 years, they were. In the environment your ancestors lived in, social rejection was not a feeling. It was a death sentence. A human alone on the African savanna in 48,000 BCE did not survive the week. The tribe was oxygen, which means the brain systems that monitored your social standing were not luxury systems. They were survival systems, as critical as hunger, as urgent as pain. And those systems are still fully operational. In 2005, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio at the University of Southern California published findings from years of research on patients with damage to the prefrontal cortex, the newest part of the brain, the part responsible for rational thought. What he found was unexpected. When this rational layer was damaged, patients could still feel, they could still recognize emotions. What they could not do was make decisions. They were paralyzed. Without emotion, without the ancient systems beneath rational thought, the modern brain could not choose what to eat for breakfast. The old brain is not a problem to be solved. It is the foundation everything else runs on. But here is what no one tells you. That foundation was built for a world with roughly 150 people in it. In 1992, anthropologist Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford published research establishing what is now called Dunbar's number, the cognitive limit to the number of stable social relationships a human brain can maintain. The number is 150. Not because humans are limited in general, but because the social processing regions of the brain, regions that evolved over millions of years of tribal living, were calibrated for a group of that size. Your phone has more than 150 contacts, your social media feed updates 150 times before noon, and your 50,000-year-old brain is trying to process all of it as if every face, every conflict, every piece of information is relevant to your survival. This is not anxiety. This is a system running exactly as designed in an environment it was never designed for. In 2004, researchers at the University of Michigan, led by psychologist David Strayer, published findings on directed attention fatigue, the mental exhaustion that comes specifically from environments that demand constant vigilance. City environments, open-plan offices, phone screens, every source of unpredictable stimulus drains the same cognitive resource. And that resource was finite when it evolved, because it was never meant to be used this continuously. Your ancestors' threat detection system got to rest. Fires died. Nights ended. The savannah went quiet. The brain had hours of low-stimulus darkness every single day to restore itself. You have not had that. Not really. Not in years. And this is the part that reframes everything. For most of this, you have probably been thinking, the ancient brain is the problem. That the solution is to somehow override it, outsmart it, meditate past it, optimize around it. That the goal is to become more rational, more modern, more evolved, beyond those old systems. But that assumption is wrong. In 2015, neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett at Northeastern University published research challenging the foundational model of how the brain processes emotion. Her conclusion, drawn from meta-analyses of hundreds of neuroimaging studies, was quiet and devastating. The brain does not react to the world. It predicts the world, constantly, every moment. It is building a model of what is about to happen next based on everything that has happened before. And then it uses incoming information only to correct that model when the prediction fails. The ancient brain is not reacting to your life. It is predicting your life, using data that is 50,000 years old. When you feel dread before a meeting that hasn't happened yet, that is a prediction. When you feel sick after a social interaction that went fine, that is a prediction being corrected too late. When you lie awake at 2 a.m., cataloging every possible thing that could go wrong, that is a prediction engine that cannot find the off switch, because in 48,000 BCE, the off switch was sleep, and sleep only came when the fire was burning and the tribe was breathing nearby. The problem was never that your brain is too old. The problem is that the world changed faster than evolution can follow. In the last 200 years, the environment shifted in ways that 3 million years of adaptation had no answer for. And your brain, precise, ancient, extraordinary, is doing exactly what it was built to do, in a world it was never built for. You picked up your phone this morning before you were fully awake. The screen lit your face in the dark. And somewhere in the oldest part of your brain, a system that has kept your species alive for 50 millennia, scanned the light, scanned the faces in the feed, measured the distance between what it expected and what it found, and quietly filed a threat report that you will spend the rest of the day trying to explain as anxiety, distraction, or simply a bad mood. The fire your ancestors stared into each night gave that system something to watch, something slow, warm, and predictable, something that said, "You are safe, the tribe is here, you can rest now." You replaced it with a screen, and you never noticed what you lost.